We're back at it. We got the Fontaine Workhorse 55 LCC. We got it in the shop. We're going ahead and start putting dual revolution lighting on it. So we're taking out all the red and amber lights, and we're going to put the dual revolution trucks accessories lighting in there. So we're making kind of custom harnesses, so everything will be pretty much seamless. So all the lighting will be clear. It'll have its standard amber down the side, red in the back, red on the corners. But then everything, when you go to the show, will light up green. So like this light's going to get removed. We're going to pop a clear lens in there. And with that clear lens, it'll be able to swap over to green with a switch. We got our wire loom, so we're covering all that single strand and then making a custom harness. Ryan's underneath there buttoning up all the pieces. We got the majority of the button lights in. We're waiting on our mid-turns to get here. That was the only light we were missing. We just got a huge inventory from Trucks Accessories, so we got the iconic TM trailer cells mud flaps. All the lenses are kind of in. Key point is on a lot of these bullet style connectors, we're making our harness custom with these connectors because they kind of work best. You got the male and then the female connectors here. On the back of these Trucks Accessories lights, they have your standard 2-pin marker connector, and on the stop turn tail, it has a PL3 style connector. But then you have this auxiliary wire right here. So on that, we're just making a custom harness. And then we also have a single strand continuous harness. But we found that in making it ourselves, it gives us the proper distance between each light rather than just going a continuous with 12-inch intervals between the wiring. This loom is just to protect everything. So you wrap this split loom around the wire, and that'll kind of protect everything. So then Ryan's going back here behind all these other lights and making that harness. All right, so they got most of the lights installed. They'll be, like I said, that clear color. We can go over some of the options. It's got the dual kingpin settings in the front, so you can have a longer length under the neck. We've got hydraulic couplers here, document holder, of course, the iconic Fontaine Workhorse logo, and your spool valve and your hydraulic pressure gauge. It's got the flip up ramps in the front with a bunch of D-rings down the side, swing out outriggers, so you can extend the deck, open a little higher, a little longer, wider. In the middle, you've got lockable toolboxes. Right now, it's just got a little linch pin in it. It's got the perforated metal down there that everybody loves. They're always in the comments telling me how the expanded metal will get the chain stuck. But this stuff's got perforated metal. Going on down, you see all the cross members. It goes down to the hammer plate with a little cubby bin for some more storage and more D-rings. Let's touch real briefly on the air system. So, of course, you got air brakes, and along with that comes air suspension. Right here is a ride height control. You go up on that handle, so it'll kind of look like this, and it'll lift up all your suspension. Go down on it, it'll dump all your suspension. Center is your standard kind of ride down the road height. What that whittle valve does is changes the position of your leveling valve. You see how it has that little bar there? It'll slide up and down on that bar, which will change the position of that linkage and that leveling valve that goes down to the axle, telling it that it'll request more air or less air. This one has ride well suspension. It's a newer, heavier duty ride well suspension, Y-beams front axle. On this front axle, you'll see these chains here. They serve two purposes. One of the purposes is to act as a shock limiter. So that shock absorber right there will limit the distance it can travel so it doesn't overextend and pop your shocks off. All right. So another note on the suspension is on these front airbags. What these chains do, you have these ball valves here. You can dump the suspension in the back. I'll take you back there. It has a push pull valve. You can dump all your suspension air out. Then when you have the handle in this position crossed to the line, it's crossed to the line, that shuts off supply. So now you can't, it won't let no more air back in after they're dumped. And now you can take these chains and chain up that first axle. Then when you go and raise the suspension back up, it'll lift that first axle off the ground. So that's a fun option. In this first bolster, it has a pressure gauge. We're going to swap that over to a right way air scale. It's equipped with aluminum rims. This is Ryan back here. He's working on, say hey.
Hey, how y'all doing?
He's working on the lighting. And then we were talking about the push-pull valves. I love these valves. Back in the day, they used to have pilot valves with a manual override valve, like a hand valve. These valves are so much better. This one will dump all the air out of the suspension. That one will lift the third axle in the air. It has those airbags down there that are not part of the suspension, particularly they're part of the airlift third. And I'll show you it's actually off the ground right now. This new ride well does a great job of getting that third axle up pretty high in the air. So you'll see as you're traveling down the road, you could potentially have that first axle up and the second axle down, third axle up. So you're riding with just one wheel, one axle on the ground. And then this one has these strobes. The strobe box right there has got a battery backup. It will let these strobe lights in the back work even when the neck is detached. So that's some of the cool options on this trailer. We'll follow back up whenever we're done with this lighting or as we progress with the lighting. We're still got to put loom over those. Those are the finished one. Here is this type of connector that the bullet light can plug into right here. So then you have your lighting and then it'll be able to swap over to green. We're back with a much anticipated dual revolution project on the Lamborghini green trailer. We got all the DOT lights in. They got the clear lenses all the way down. And then Ryan, if you'll hit the lights. So this will get you over to all your DOT colors. We still have the functionality of the strobes here. So those will take over and do strobe lights there. You got all your red lights in the back. I don't know why they're showing up kind of orange on camera, but they're red. Turn the strobes back off. The button lights down the side are still clear, but they burn amber. We finally got our mid turns in, so they will flash. Hey, can you turn the flashers on? You gotta turn the other stuff off. All right, so our flashers go, our test box kind of supersedes. All right, then turn all the lighting back on. So that's all your amber lighting. And then we'll go ahead and swap them over to green. And then Chance, will you hit the main lights in the building? So now we have this beautiful green light all the way around the trailer. Up on the neck. And they're actually really bright. Wow, it's beautiful. Chance, hit the main lights. Yeah, so that's cool. That's the iconic Fontaine Workhorse 55 LCC custom dual revolution project.